when you lost. There's always a hope. Rise and fight.
Hello, StarCraft fans. Another day of BSL is upon us. We're in the second day of the round of 8, and we've got a Terran versus Zerg and a Terran versus Protoss. We're going to have Sziky facing off versus XuanXuan in the first match. And of course, I'm joined by Curiosity. So good to have you back, Curiosity, especially since we're going to have a Zerg and Protoss going up against these Terran players.
Yeah, what's up, Nyoken? I mean, I saw the first day. The matches were pretty one-sided. So I hope this day is a little bit more competitive. And I think we'll have pretty competitive matches. We have Sziky looking to make it into round of 4 again. Newcomer XuanXuan, who looked really strong with his mech play in the earlier run against True Touch. And then, of course, the BSL champ, Mihu, and Boa, who, if a lot of people don't know, is probably the best NA Protoss.
Yeah, Boa is a really strong Protoss. I think that will be a good matchup, and I want to see him versus Mihu because we know Mihu is very deadly with the 4-fact, 5-fact timing, and we already saw BSL show matches between Mihu and Oyaji and Bonnet and DeWalt, and they won 9-0 after the BSL previous BSL completed, but we haven't actually get to see Boa versus Mihu, so that should be an exciting matchup. But as I stated, first matchup is Sziky versus XuanXuan, and I'm trying to think, when's the last time have I seen Sziky play versus a mech player? Nobody's coming to mind. Like, the last time I saw Sziky play versus Terran was maybe Mihu or Gypsy from last season, and they both played Bio. So I'm curious to see how Sziky will stand up to XuanXuan, because XuanXuan's Goliath timing was really, really strong.
So Sziky actually played Dandy on... what was the map? Crossing Field. Do you remember that map?
Yes, I do.
It's the one with the back natural for race championships, and Sziky absolutely crushed Dandy. Dandy couldn't leave his third of the map at all. Just had really good mirrorless control, bought himself time, and then switched into Hydra Queen. The one difference is Dandy went for the upgrade style of mech, where you just sit back, get 3-2, and expand slowly. XuanXuan doesn't do that. He likes to go for the 1-1 timing of 5 or 6 factories.
Yeah, now that you mention that, I do remember that game, and I remember seeing Dandy build like 3 turrets in front of his army. I'm like, well, I mean, it might dissuade Sziky for about 5 seconds to not go in there with the queens, and he popped all those tanks, and I remember that was a massacre. He even infested the command center. So yeah. Sziky definitely not lacking in the skill versus mech. XuanXuan's gonna have to come up with something special, but his Goliath play already working out versus True Touch. Maybe he will be able to take down someone like Sziky. We're getting a look at the profile statistics. You can see 100% win rate versus Protoss, 100% win rate versus Zerg for XuanXuan. Not a lot of games played. Meanwhile, on the other side, you can see Sziky somewhat just decent record across all the matchups, but in the past 2 seasons, he's gotten 4th place, which is obviously a great showing.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Sziky was 7, 8, 9 years ago the best foreigner by far. And when he came back, I guess he came back during Remastered, but then he took a break, then he came back again. It didn't feel like he was at that level again. But I feel like with beating DeWalt in the group stage and like having a sweep in one of the race championship days, I feel like Sziky's finally at that shape again. So I'm really excited to see if he could finally break through and make it into a finals.
Yeah, even though I'm unfamiliar with Sziky of the past, it does seem like every single season he gets better and better. Even though BSL 11, you can see, he didn't have the greatest showing. The past 2 seasons, he's definitely turned it up a notch in comparison to previous seasons. And then, of course, this time around, he's looking really, really good. As far as this matchup, we know Sziky is very good with Mutalisk, and the fact that XuanXuan is going to go into most likely Goliath play, I don't think we're going to see Sziky pick apart XuanXuan with pure Mutas. It's probably going to be what you talked about from the Dandy series, going to Hydras afterwards, go into the Queens, and I'm curious what maps they're going to end up playing.
So we actually do have that information. Sziky banned Turbine, so we're not going to see that. And XuanXuan banned Good Night, which makes sense. If you're a primarily mech player, Good Night is not the greatest mech map. That mineral only third doesn't really help out.
Yeah, it doesn't help out at the mineral only. Scan makes a lot of comments about top left on Good Night in particular being hard to defend Mutalisk. So no shocker there to see that banned. That means that we have Eclipse, Butter, Ascension, Monopoly, and Metaverse left over. And I think that probably sets us up for most likely... Oh my goodness. It is a Metaverse first pick. Was not expecting this. So let's get into game one of our series. It's going to be XuanXuan versus Sziky on Metaverse. Okay, in the top right position, our Chinese Terran, it is XuanXuan.
And in the bottom left, we have Sziky.
Well, now that I'm thinking about this map, XuanXuan picked this map both times versus True Touch, didn't he?
I'm trying to remember. I remember at least one. I don't remember the second game.
Yeah, I remember XuanXuan, or maybe he didn't pick it, it just happened to be the matchup, but he did win there. Initial thoughts on this map for me is if Zerg takes bottom middle or mid left, for example, it's going to be really hard for Terran to deny it, but at the same time, Terran has access to 3 bases that are relatively close. So if Terran can get 3 bases, that's obviously going to be a fantastic situation for him.
Are we going to see maybe an overpull from Sziky, or it's just going to be 12 hatch? Because we have seen XuanXuan mix in 7 racks, that one game, right, that he played differently. But other than that, he's just been playing straight up mech. So it looks like Sziky... I mean, this isn't the greatest map for early pull. The rush distance is quite long. Nope, just going to be a hatch first.
Yeah, no shocker there. I think until this guy shows that he can be aggressive, I would just play my normal opener. Now, in typical XuanXuan fashion, that's the barracks. Now, you know, I was actually going through VODs on, I think, Rush's channel, and I just stumbled upon him also putting the command center, putting the barracks in this particular position. So he must be a Rush fan, and that means he's aware of all the timings that Rush likes to play, if Rush even goes mech.
Yeah, it just looks curious because you never see it, but it totally makes sense. Against a really early pool, you want all your buildings to be as close to your mineral line as possible.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes even if you get like 9 pool, if you run into 9 pool speed, sometimes it's hard to hold your ramp. You end up having to build a bunker. I personally like building the bunker right next to the gas. You get to cover the gas, obviously you get to cover the mineral line. And you can see the depots are all really close too. So not only do you defend all that, you also defend your depots. And on top of that, your marine pops out on the right side. So it's a really clever positioning of the racks. Now meanwhile, Sziky doing Sziky things. Looks very normal. Zerg style we see these days. It's like a 205 gas. Very, very standard. And you can do all types of things with this. You can take a fast third base. You can build a third hatch in your main. You can all in Muta. You can go lurkers, I guess. And luckily for Sziky, he gets in here and confirms that it is a factory timing.
Drone manages to escape as well. And, well, I'm sure Sziky scouted his opponent. He watched the earlier VODs against True Touch and should be pretty... shouldn't be surprised at all that this is coming.
Yeah, everything here is going as expected. We didn't expect to see anything other than the factory opener, and now the real question is what's the follow-up after the command center? Is it going to be a timing? More than likely it is. However, it is cross-spawn, so that may factor into his decision.
Just barely got a glimpse of that SCV heading towards the natural, and some really late lings from Sziky here.
Yeah, late lings, but don't really need that many lings. Even just 2 on hold position is probably fine. I like the sunken timing. Generally, Vulture pops out at around 350, 355. And there it is. It popped out at 347. So sunken will complete in time, and Sziky should not take any damage. I'm trying to think, did Xuan... Oh, yeah, XuanXuan is the guy that always puts the add-on, always goes for speed, and goes in with 2 or 3 Vultures, and he wants to pop a couple of drones if he can right before the mutas. So I guess that will be something that Sziky needs to be aware of, and he may even build his 3rd hatch at his nat to try and prevent that from happening.
One thing to recall is, yeah, he did that against True Touch a lot, especially on Butter. True Touch didn't manage to get the wall right, so those early Vultures actually did a lot of damage. And this is a little bit more lings than I was expecting. This is already 8 lings, already have speed. Only 1 Vulture, 2nd Vulture, not even in production.
He might be outright dead. He lost vision. He has no idea this is coming, and now he gets intercepted in the center of the map, and he has no Vultures for defense, just a single Marine. So this game could already be over. SCV pull is decent. It at least clogs up the ramp, but again, there's no Vulture. He was waiting for the Goliath, actually. This time around, he's going to get punished for not building those 3 Vultures, because lings are racking up kill after kill on these SCVs. Oh, he catches the 2nd one!
Absolutely worst time to spawn there for that Vulture. Immediately surrounded. SCV's pretty beefy, actually clean up all our links, but this is already so much economic damage. Actually, 2 more links there on the top side. Sziky split off some lings, and mutas are about to start being made.
Yeah, it's... I don't want to say it's over, but it's looking very grim for Terran right here. The whole time I was watching the damage unfold, I was thinking, okay, well, if you have an eBay, maybe you can scramble to get up turrets. He hasn't even started his eBay, so he has to rely on Goliath production. And when you go for 2-fact Goliath opener, a really maximum amount of Goliaths you have when mutas get to your base is 4. And once the muta count gets up to like 7, 8, 9, Zerg doesn't care about 4 Goliaths. They're just going to pounce on them. So he desperately needs to get up a bunker or the eBay ASAP, something to help get rid of these mutas, because 4 Goliaths is not going to be enough.
You can see he's trying to catch back up by making SCVs, but that's really hurting him in terms of he can't afford non-stop Goliaths, SCVs, and an eBay. And there you go. You can see the Mutalisk. It's only 5 now, but once you get to 7, and they can start 3-shotting these Goliaths pretty easily, they'll just ignore the incoming Goliath fire. And I guess that's the eBay there. Immediately, SCV gets picked off.
Yeah, and you have to remember, these Goliaths don't have ranged either. It's such a long upgrade that the mutas can just swoop in. It's like, I'll just pick that SCV off, and that one, and then I'll just walk away. Because that's what mutas do. Oh, you got a straggler Goliath? Maybe I'll pick that off. Look how many SCVs are dying. He's got the magic number of 7 Mutalisks, so he one-shots all the workers. It's even a supply lead for Sziky now, 42 to 33. This is, oh, he even kills that SCV building the eBay again.
Yeah, hasn't even lost a single Mutalisk.
I know, it's crazy. Goliaths, because of their damage type, only end up dealing half damage to mutas. So mutas aren't even necessarily scared of Goliaths, especially since the mutas are clumped up and it's not focused fire onto a single target. That's another dead SCV and another round of mutas getting away scot-free. Meanwhile, Sziky behind it has taken his 3rd base at bottom right. He's got a macro hatch going up in his main, so it's going to be 4 hatch versus 2 factories. All we're really waiting for is the decision on whether he's going to continue to pump out Mutalisk or switch into Hydras. Either one, I don't think there's any way XuanXuan can stop it.
Yeah, after these 7 Mutalisks, Sziky didn't make a single Mutalisk more, just kept adding drones, really macroed up here, and now he's going to be able to power. And yeah, switching back into Mutalisk, probably +1 carapace is on the way, if not already complete. And economically, just way ahead here.
Yeah, and okay, that is Evolution Chamber and Hydrogen. So if his Mutalisk attack somehow fails, he will have a backup plan of the Hydralisk, but XuanXuan just down in the dumps. So that's the first turret of the game at the Nat, but the damage is already done, and he's in the dark. Like, Sziky doesn't even necessarily have to be building mutas. If he's going Hydras, you don't even want the turret. You need tanks, and you need Goliaths. So XuanXuan's going to need a miracle here. I love his split of the Goliaths, but it's just okay. Maybe he's just gonna go for the counterattack. That's probably his best option, to go for the Hail Mary.
Yeah, Straggler Goliath here instantly gets picked off. I think retreating here is also suicide. Mutas are going to do so much damage, so if he can find a window where these mutas are all the way across map, maybe he can get some damage done, but pretty sure Sziky is adding Sunkens. Yeah, he knows what's coming.
Yeah, 3 Sunkens will completely shut this down. 2 Sunkens plus Hydras, or 2 Sunkens plus the Mutas coming back will shut it down. Mutas onto the natural, shutting down that mineral line. He's going to ransack everything. We've got a pure base trade right now, but XuanXuan has to get through these Sunkens. First Mutalist pops out. The Sunkens aren't done just yet. That died surprisingly quick, but I still think it's just simply too much Zerg. So, well, I guess all the Sunkens are going to die. +1 armor kicking in, but Mutalists are going to come back and try and support these lanes.
Yeah, just the Mutalist alone will clean this up. Sunkens bought enough time here.
This is going to be the game-ending attack. You can see XuanXuan not even mining his natural, and the Mutas are going to clean this up easily. So unfortunately for XuanXuan, he's going to start off the series down 0-1. Get a little bit greedy with the single vulture and not leaving it there for any intel, and he taps out. There's GG.
Well, a bit unfortunate there, but a really easy win for Sziky. It didn't end right away like we thought with the Mutalist, but he was just so far ahead from those lanes that he could have followed up any way he wanted and won.
Yeah, that's true. Literally anything except for maybe... Well, and even ProLeague probably would have won, simply because he had no units, especially since he caught the second vulture. But that's kind of what happens sometimes when you play mech. It's such a fragile opener, especially with no wall. So XuanXuan's going to have to recontemplate at least wall positioning if he's going to go for another fast factory like he did versus Sziky. But I imagine now it's going to be his pick now that he's lost. And I think I'm looking at the maps. We got Eclipse, Butter, Ascension, and Monopoly. I think it's gotta be Eclipse. This is such a good map for mech. You can wall off your entrance easily. It could also be Butter. I imagine those are the top 2 picks on XuanXuan's mind.
Yeah, I like either of those. I was thinking, what about if he goes Butter and he does what Rush did with the SCV Depot Scout, and then you can predict Zerg is gonna go hatch first on that map, and then just go 14 command center in a mech. That's something we haven't seen, but that opener is quite potent as well.
That build is actually insane. As I've stated before, it can only be countered by 4 pool. 5 pool doesn't beat it. You could also argue, well, okay, Zerg can just scout fast and go for fast 3 hatch off of no pool. That's also viable for sure, and that can punish it too. But if he just plays a normal opener, 12 hatch, 11 pool, that would be the dream opener for XuanXuan. So I actually like that pick too. Go Butter, wall off your entrance, or wall with a deep at your entrance, and then go for a fast scout and potential 14 CC. That could be fantastic. It would also, oh, there it is. It's going to be Eclipse. So let's get into game 2. Sziky already up 1-0. Okay, in the top right position, our Terran player, it is XuanXuan.
And in the bottom left, our Zerg player is Sziky.
Yeah, so if Sziky was going to be cautious of an 8 racks, I think this particular map and this particular situation, I would at least think about there could be potential 8 racks. And the reason I say that is sometimes when people ling all in me, I just think to myself, oh, you want to play like this, huh? Well, I can 8 racks too, and I can show you that I can be aggressive. But doesn't look like XuanXuan's going to be going for that. He's not sending out an SCV, which he would be sending about right now, but he is floating a lot of minerals.
There it is, 7 racks.
Oh, there it is, the 7 racks. Yep. So XuanXuan may be thinking kind of similar to me, like, okay, you want to play an aggro game? I can play aggro, bro. Let's go.
All right, so this is something he did against True Touch, opening up with that 7 racks, and well, this could definitely work. That Overlord scouting, you gotta be careful with it on Eclipse. You can't just go directly across the map because you kind of forfeit it if they actually did go for 7 or 8 racks. So you gotta be a little bit careful how that Overlord actually scouts.
Yeah, you definitely do have to be careful. And in fact, a lot of players that I play on the ladder end up just sending it completely off to the side, similar to where Sziky's going, but even more horizontal. Sometimes they just send it directly to the center of the map. They don't even want to risk losing their first Overlord. I like how Sziky's going for the fast scout, especially since it's on a 2-player map. He wants to confirm exactly what he's up against. And when he sees the Marines coming, he's going to have to be careful because 7 racks is about 5 seconds faster than 8 racks, but your econ is way worse.
Well, look at the pool timing 11, not going for 12 pool.
Drone does confirm the Marine, and the second SCV went unscouted through the bottom side of the map, but there is another Overlord in position. That SCV is setting up like it's going to build a proxy factory, but we know this is just a hidden SCV, potentially trying to set up and build a bunker at the NAT while the SCV sits in the main. Here comes the first 2 Marines, and SCV pull, so he is committed to this.
Yeah, this is about as all in as it gets, and no, I don't. Okay, that's a lot of drones. He left 2 mining.
Yeah, a lot of times you're leaving 3 to mine, but I guess he's probably watched the replays of this 7 racks and he knows that it's mega all in. He's gonna try and drill. You gotta look at what Sziky's vision is. He has no vision of the gas. That's what he's trying to catch right now. He's trying to drill on that gas so he can clobber these Marines, and he's finally able to drill, but he doesn't actually drill. He gets on top of one of the Marines, catches that, but he needs to drill into the back. Not able to do so. Okay, he gets another Marine, but he's losing so many drones. All he has to do is hold, though. Terran's very all in with this. The drones do catch the last Marine, but he loses like 6 drones in the process. Bunker is up, but Lings are out, and XuanXuan's going to have to tuck tail and turn around. Luckily for him, I would say, he kept all of his SCVs alive, and now the drone count is just at 7.
Yeah, but Zerg does have the 2 hatcheries. I'm pretty sure Sziky is joining up here. I'm worried about this counterattack though, because I haven't seen any bunker.
Yeah, I don't know how he thinks he's gonna hold this with just 2 Marines and no wall. Okay, there we go. He's gonna clog up the wall right there. Marine is kind of far forward. He might lose that one. He needs to leave his SCVs down here. I mean, Lings are good. Or Marine and wall is good, but he can just waltz in like this. Good control. He maximizes the amount of damage that Marine did, but he let the Lings get in and kill the SCVs, and he just taps out again.
Not really sure what he was looking at there, because he saw it was 8 Lings. He only had 2 Marines. You really need to leave the SCVs to block. Otherwise, you're not really accomplishing anything with that wall, and unfortunate there. I mean, I still think it's not enough what he did, right? Because he only had like 5 or 6 SCVs. He had like 7 more coming, but Zerg had already droned up. I feel like at worst, Zerg is even there, but still, I mean, Terran had a chance to for 5 months. Just didn't defend those early Lings.
Yeah, you need to do what Protoss does, is like attack your own barracks or attack your own depot to keep those SCVs in hold position in front of the Marines. And unfortunately, he, I guess, didn't realize it was 8 Lings. Maybe thought it was like 4 or something, and just underestimated the strength that was coming at him. And now he's down 2-0, and I'm having flashbacks to yesterday where we were already at 2-0 in like 12 minutes. It seems like we're going to keep that pace today, and it's going to be XuanXuan's pick again. But I feel like we know what it's got to be. It's got to be butter, and we know that, well, I'm assuming we're not going to see a 7 racks back to back. So if I was Sziky, I would play as greedy as possible in the next map.
Yeah, and you gotta feel good at Sziky because, well, the one thing for XuanXuan is he hasn't actually played a normal game yet. So he doesn't know if his opener is even going to be any good against Sziky. That's the thing. Like, usually, like, say you go mech twice and you lose straight up standard game, then you realize, okay, this guy, it doesn't work against him. I'm going to switch it up. But he hasn't even tried it yet, right? We haven't even gotten into a mid game.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't even gotten into a real game from XuanXuan simply because he's died so early. Like, I think his attack in last game was fine Oh, wow. Okay, it's not going to be butter. A bit of a mix-up here. It's going to be Monopoly. So this is going to be the last lifeline for XuanXuan, potentially. He needs a win here. Otherwise, his BSL run is done. Okay, in the top left, already up 2-0. It is Sziky.
And in the mid-right, we have XuanXuan representing clan CWT.
And CWT, man, they got all the members. They got the Walt, they got Boa, they got XuanXuan. Who else they got, man?
I know Goranich, Grind Boss, Zoom, Julia, Attack. I mean, they have a lot of players. They even have a Kid, also, the Chinese Zerg.
Got an all-star lineup. They must be doing work in BWCL and STPL. Very, very sick lineup. Now, XuanXuan, it is just going to be the depot. As I stated, it's unlikely to see a 7 racks or an 8 racks after you just failed it. So again, I would not blame Sziky if he went for the most greedy opener 12 patch. Oh, but instead, he's expecting some type of aggressive play back-to-back, and it's going to be a 9 pool.
And, well, I like this because, you know, this guy goes mech a lot. The 9 pool can get in, get some damage done. And I'm trying to remember, there was an ASL map. Actually, look at the barracks placement. It's actually not in the same spot it always is. So is this even going to be mech?
Well, what I was thinking, is this even XuanXuan? This is the first time that we've not seen the barracks right next to that gas. And that's like his signature move. So already I'm kind of excited because does this mean it's bio? And in fact, it could be because look at that supply. Seriously? I can't even believe it. That says 13 out of 18 with no refinery?
Yeah, absolutely insane.
The madman. Well, this is definitely going to be a switch up from what Sziky's expecting. He's going to come in here and think, wait a minute. First off, that Rax is in a weird spot. And you don't have gas? Who's this?
Yep, so it's just going to be unfortunate for XuanXuan. He's actually not going to scout Sziky first. So he doesn't actually know this is coming yet. Which, well, as a Terran, you always got to be a little bit concerned that the Zerg went for 9 pool.
Yeah, and he scouted him last. So by the time he gets there, this might be too late. Also, he could be going for delayed mech, which will cut into his money after the command center.
He already planted the command center.
Yep, that's going to be a cancel. That's the 100 minerals down the drain. SCVs are not being pulled. Marines are running for their lives, but he's not queuing up Marines. Okay, well, the command center has not been canceled yet. That could be a big mistake. You really need to knock that down at the bare minimum. He knocks down the first Marine and the second Marine. SCVs are doing a good job. They killed already 2 of the links, but the command center is still alive, and there's not follow-up links. So actually, XuanXuan may be able to stabilize this.
This is not terrible. Felt like Sziky, after killing those 2 Marines, could have really committed to that command center. But instead, he's just running around with these links. He might be able to get this Marine. Marines are actually really bad against even just a couple links if they have no support. Looks like Sziky is going to save these links, though. Try to slow down this command center. And still no gas, so I don't think this is going to be a mech. Maybe he was planning on it, but after all this chaos...
He can't mech anymore. It would be so late. It would just be similar to last game where he has no Goliaths or a very low Goliath count. No turrets. And behind this, Sziky, he's just going into normal play. His lair has started a while ago, actually. And Sziky just spent another 100 gas. So that's going to be for speed. In case, I guess, a 1 Rax rallied Marine moves across the map. Not too sure what he wants to do with this. But actually, he may go for a killing blow. Because XuanXuan has really not respected the amount of lings in any of the series, so it could be for that.
Well, we just saw a lot of larval spent that the drones are lings, and no depot at the front. There's 0 Sim City, just completely exposed Marines there. He does have the SCV scout though, so at least he has that to confirm what the larva is actually being utilized on.
Oh, there's the academy. It's very late. It's about 4:20, 4:15 academy. That means stim is going to be slow, range is going to be slow. But of course the Spire's delayed too, so it will still be a decent timing relative to the Spire. More Lings have been produced. That should be alarm bells for XuanXuan, especially if he can see speed. He does confirm the Spire timing though. Oh, it did kick in. He needs a bunker. ASAP.
Well, I think that's the first 2 medics making here. It's only 8 Lings. The Marines, the Lings will trade well if they get there just before the medics. If Sziky commits here, it's actually very tight.
Yeah, they will trade very well. Even if the medics are there, they're going to trade well. Okay, he's not going to commit. I don't blame him for that commitment. He's just going to run by 3 Lings. He's going to try and shut down that eBay. Meanwhile, XuanXuan, he can't make a decision. He wanted to move out, but now he wants to save his eBay. But now he's looking to move out. And meanwhile, Lings are going to move into the natural. And Sziky, just picking him apart with the micro, may end up losing the Lings in the main to these fire bats, but it's going to be a big counterattack to the natural. He even catches one of the medics. That means there's only a single medic in that army. There's no way he can bust the sunken line anymore.
Well, Marines are marching across the map. That's 2 sunkens. They should be done. This wasn't, like you said, stim. Had he stimmed across, maybe he could get there in time, but just with the 1 medic, it's actually going to get killed maybe by those 2 sunkens. Looks like the Lings have finally been dealt with, but mutas are on the way, and well, Sziky doesn't have a lot of drones, but that might not matter if these mutas can get in here.
Yeah, and knowing how impeccable the Muta Micro is, you know the Sziky mutas are going to get some damage done. The question for me was, are the turrets going to be in time? And the answer is yes, they will just barely be in time. First couple mutas are looking to see if there's an army going for a backstab, and he is going to intercept this fire bat. So for now, XuanXuan's still in the dark about this 3rd hatch that's already completed at bottom left.
And that's range, still not done. It's only 4 mutalisks here. Of course, Sziky invested quite heavily into the Lings, and then 2 sunkens. So it ends up pretty poor.
There's a dead Marine and a dead medic, more than likely, or maybe not. He's going to let it survive for now. You can see the drone count is extremely low, so if XuanXuan was to scan the nat, he may think that Sziky's all in here, but we know otherwise. Bottom left is up and running. Another turret falls, a couple of Marines fall, and it's going to be so hard to deal with these mutas because the Marine count just isn't that high right now. Range is completed though. That's great for XuanXuan.
Yep, and Sziky's slowly starting to saturate that 3rd. His factory's on the way, so good factory timing.
Yeah, factory is good.
Only 1 control group of Marines here. Another medic goes down. Another medic almost gets popped there. I mean, this is a lot of turrets. XuanXuan is pretty pinned right now. He scans the main and the natural, sees the drone count pretty low, and like you said, this actually looks like Zerg is all in. He hasn't confirmed the 3rd.
Yeah, he even scanned mid-left because he thought, okay, maybe there's a hatchery over there. But versus Zerg, you know, they could have even taken bottom right, for example. It's so hard to figure out where their 3rd base is.
Or even top right.
Yeah, I mean, top right, they could be right there. So it's a very, very difficult situation for XuanXuan. Meanwhile, he is going into 2 starports. We know Valkyrie play is somewhat common these days, so we may see Armory follow-up. And we know he likes mech, so he could be doing the mech switch afterwards. But this does just look like typical standard play we see these days, and that is going to be the Queen's Nest. Okay.
Queen's Nest and the 4th macro hatch.
Yep, Sziky racking up kills with these mutas. Another SCV gone, another Marine gone, more and more turrets being built. That's a 4th barracks for XuanXuan, so this could be actual just bio play. +1 weapon should be kicking in for both players pretty soon. The mutas should have it. Yep, there's +1 weapon for Terran. Mutas may have it pretty soon. I know Sziky likes to play +1 weapon mutas, but so far there is no +1 for him. Meanwhile, Hired and done, so Lurkers should be coming pretty soon.
Oh, nice scan there. So these mutas don't just get free shot off. But a lot of Marines do actually go down, and we still have 10 mutalisks. 2 of them badly bruised up, +1 done, like you said. And there's the Hive. Queen's Nest is at the third, so I like how Sziky's splitting off all his like his tech buildings. Queen's Nest, Hydrogen, Evolution Chamber, all at different locations. So Terran, I mean, he'll have a pretty good idea what's going on, but he won't know exactly. And from the earlier drone deficit that Sziky was in, it's actually very healthy now. It's almost 1 per patch, even at the third base with 3 gas. Huge gas bank for Sziky as well. So he has a lot of flexibility here.
Yeah, more than likely it's just going to be the Defiler and Lurker, but he's kept the majority of the Mutalisks alive. It could even be Guardians, potentially. It would not be a wise choice in this scenario because his Greater Spire timing would not be at a good timing relative to the vessel count. It would still be like 4 or 5 vessels out by then. Hive still not done. First few Lurkers are being morphed. And still, XuanXuan is pinned in his base. He even built double bunker. I guess he was expecting to get all in because of what he scanned, but we know that's not the case. And now finally he's going to start moving out, but the Lurkers are already set up.
The first 2 vessels here. He's got to be careful. This is enough Mutalisks with +1 that these vessels are actually a little bit exposed here. If Sziky saw this, he could definitely capitalize there. It looks like he sensed an opportunity now. They do have Irradiate now, just finished with the 75 energy.
Yeah, that was a nice bait from XuanXuan, and he gets a double Irradiate, and all of these mutas, well, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them are heavily damaged. He does get a vessel, though. That's a bit of a mistake. He is going to bleed off an Overlord, but he's going to feel good about that trade, whittling down the vessel count, and now there's only a single one remaining. Nidus is connected to these bases, so no way for XuanXuan to get any damage done really at bottom left either. And he killed off all of his turrets because he wants to go into barracks, man. That is 7 barracks on 2 bases, so this is going to be a ton of pressure on the Nat in third base. Oh, he's going for it.
There's one Lurker. The other Lurker is slightly out of position. Looks like the vessel is going to get picked off. Overlord's covering. Oh, this is so many links from Sziky, though.
Yeah, but this is mini Marines backing up. Remember, it has +1 weapon. There's only 1 Lurker, like you said, 2 more moving into position, but they're not stacked up. So XuanXuan may feel like he can get the angle if he goes off to the right side like that. Actually, 4 Lurkers, but that's a very forward Lurker. It gets picked off. Luckily, the Nidus is connected, so Sziky can reinforce with Lurkers from his third base. Now with the Defiler out and lack of vessels, he should be able to push this back with a single Darkstorm, but the single Defiler is going to die before Consume is complete.
So I feel like that was fantastic for XuanXuan. He traded very efficiently there, got a lot of links, even more barracks going down. So this is very committed here. Unfortunately for him, he lost a lot of vessels during all that. I felt like if he had done the same but kept 2 more vessels alive, he'd be in an absolutely fantastic position.
Yeah, he may have even been able to end the game because 2 Irradiates would have eliminated 2 out of the 3 Lurkers, and there's no way you can hold 1/1 Marines with just a single Lurker and a handful of Lings. But the game is going to go on. We have 5 hatch production for Zerg. Good saturation across all the bases. Another Irradiate's going to take down this Defiler, but he's able to get down some Darkstorms and buy himself time. He catches isolated Marines with no medics. If he picks off the medics, that would be a big win for him. He's even going to get a couple of kills here. Nicely done. Lurker gets a couple of kills too.
Oh, another vessel. Michael down here. And from earlier, we saw a glimpse into Sziky's main. It's actually super undersaturated. Only like 6 drones mining minerals. So even though he has a lot of hatcheries, he can barely afford to keep producing out of all of them.
Yeah, so may need a drone cycle out of all 3 hatches at his main. Actually, 4 hatches at his main, so it's 6 hatch production. We saw that the Ultralisk Cavern is going down at the natural, and that is a very fast Ultralisk Cavern. It's going to be, well, actually, it's a decent timed Ultralisk Cavern. Meanwhile, another vessel potentially going to fall. 2 vessels even. No, just going to be 1, but 4th base going up for Sziky. Where's the Plague? Where's the catch-up? Does he have it? No. He's just going to push forward with another Darkstorm. Oh, I didn't even realize XuanXuan has already taken a 3rd base, so he's scaling his econ really well.
Yeah, still has that 1 floated barracks from earlier, but double eBay. I think he already has 2-1. Yeah, he has 2-1, so 3-2 is on the way. Already has 3 bases, and Sziky, like I said from earlier, is quite poor in comparison. Okay, finally made some more drones for his main, so looking a lot healthier now.
Yeah, and what I would like to see XuanXuan do is put down either 1 or 2 more starports, put that add-on onto the science facility and start pumping out PCs. PCs are really, really impactful in TVZ, especially if they can build up the energy for Yamato. You don't even have to wait for an irradiate to kill the Defiler. You just click it and it gets one-shotted by Yamato, which can be a game changer. And unfortunately, he plays off another vessel.
And he wanted to move forward there to irradiate, but somehow the vessel just stopped and the Scourge pounced on it and killed it immediately. But I mean, look at the supplies. This is a lot of Terran out on the map. Vessel count is a little bit low, but still has 4 or 5 alive.
Yeah, but I know that a lot of Zergs think, like, okay, as long as you still have 90 supply, you're still in an okay position. And that's exactly the case for Sziky, because he can just spam Dark Swarm for days, and there's nothing here other than the vessels to get through lurkers. Yeah, the plague would be magnificent. Oh, it's so disgusting. It hits like 12 Marines, so that's 40 damage each, plus the medics too. So this was upwards of like 600 to 700 points of damage in an instant. But XuanXuan's merciless. He's sending more and more units across the map. He's basically maxed now. I'd like to see him mix in a ton of fire bats. If he's just going to continue to pump out vessel, marine medic, get in fire bats so he can stem into the lurkers and actually take them down.
I'm looking at Sziky's natural. He doesn't really have a lot of gas, and he also doesn't have a lot of gas units. So even though a lot of vessels have died, they've done a good job at least getting off and irradiate. And well, it's going to be very difficult for Sziky to actually switch into Ultralisk here, especially if you see XuanXuan actually go for the battle cruiser, which we saw the add-on on that science facility. So this is a very scary moment for Sziky as he's trying to finally transition into Ultralisk.
Yeah, that's totally correct. And he needs to get more and more Dark Swarms down. The first Ultralists are out. There's no lurker at the natural of Sziky. It's just Lings and Ultras. And these are heavily upgraded Marines. This might be a blunder here. XuanXuan coming in through the right side on a radiate is fantastic. And entirety of Sziky's army is going to get cleaned up here. And XuanXuan stemmed all the way from the bottom side of the map. And like I said, there are absolutely no lurkers here. The Nidus is not at the nat at bottom left. So he's going to have to scramble to get them into the main and through that Nidus. But I don't think he's going to be able to get there in time. XuanXuan's stemming for it. He's trying to get through. He's got to get through. He doesn't get the Defiler through. He's going to get through the lurkers at least. But there's so much bio here.
The choke will help out Sziky tremendously here, but I mean, that was very scary. That was very close to Sziky not having the lurkers in time. Just able to get those out. XuanXuan, I'm looking if he's going to try to take a fourth. No, looks like he's just keeping on the pressure. One Defiler finally pops out. This will at least buy him some time here, but I mean, this is a lot of vessels on top of the lurkers. There's no anti-air, no Scourge in sight, and it's like he's going for it. No.
I was about to say there's no Defiler because it just got picked off. He needs it. Yeah, he needs a Dark Swarm on top of his lurkers to make sure that he can stabilize for the next few seconds. But a counterattack going down to the bottom side of the map now. It's not even that many units, but there's no units for Sziky down at the bottom side. Meanwhile, XuanXuan taking a fourth base at bottom middle. He's still almost maxed out. These Ultras are not having the trades he was looking for. What would be really impactful right now is if XuanXuan could eraser that Nat drone line. That would be huge for him. So far, everything's going just fine other than losing the vessels. He's been replenishing them constantly, and he still has a massive army.
Yeah, lots of barracks blinking, taking a fourth base. Sziky is holding, though. He's holding serve here. Hasn't gotten broken. But now he's got no lurkers, and Zerg doesn't really want to add lurkers now. They just want to focus on Ultra Scourge for all their gas.
Yeah, but sometimes it's hard to realize that there are no lurkers there. You see the Dark Swarm, and you just assume that there has to be something under it. But actually, at the nat at bottom left, there really is nothing under it. It was just a spore colony. So he is going to ramp or be able to irradiate for days here, and he could actually push, potentially. There's another irradiate blankets that Defiler, and that's going to die. And the vessel count is still at 7, despite losing so many. And there's vessels at the other side of the map. Dark Swarm coming in to try and save the day, but fire bats are mixed in. And XuanXuan's going to try and push through. He dematrixed the fire bat, but he does not take down the last lurker, I don't think. So he's going to be pushed back again.
That one lurker holding the fort there for Sziky. Oh, huge plague on all the vessels. And this is the kind of play Sziky needs. He needs to lower this vessel count. And I haven't seen vessels added recently. So I think battlecruisers are finally in production. Yeah, there they are. At least one.
Yeah, but that plague could be a game changer. Do we have a Mutalisk anywhere? He could one-shot every single vessel out on the map right now if he can just find any Mutalisk, if he even has one left over. There's a Scourge. It's going to connect. Goodbye. Vessel. Okay, there he goes. He finds it, and these vessels have to run. Actually, that one's the only one that can't be one-shotted, but he found him. He's going to get all of these vessels. He's popped like 4 or 5 in a second. Look at that lurker. It's still the only remaining lurker there.
Yeah, and it's not even losing HP. Hasn't gotten irradiated yet. Well, looks like we're going for it.
Needs more fire bats. There's no fire bats in this army, so this one lurker just can't get taken down. He's unable to click it with his vessels. Defilers are moving forward. They get a good connection with the plague. He's going to push back this army. The Mutalisk could come in, maybe snipe some more vessels, but with the first BC here, that's going to make it even more chaotic, and it's already chaotic. We finally have Sziky going for a counterattack. Double bunker, that's great. If there was a Defiler mixed in, he may be able to shut down this base, but Mutas do find the vessels now. He's now whittled it down to just 3.
Yeah, there's still that one lurker, but not a lot of Defilers here. And Sziky is pretty gas starved. Like you see, he's loading all these minerals, but just can't spend. Doesn't have any gas. Ultralights finally do have. Actually, they still don't have the +5, so Marines are actually doing fantastically. And the lurker finally gets picked off, I think, by that BC, and I think this is it. I think Ziky's been broken.
Yep. He has finally been broken. XuanXuan so persistent with this attack, and it finally pays off. The Nidus falls. That means no more lurkers, lings, defilers can come out through that Nidus and connect with the rest of the bases, and that's it. GG comes out, and XuanXuan, not only does he put a win on the board, he does it in unorthodox fashion. It's going to be with Buy. We haven't seen that all of BSL from him.
Yeah, and that was actually fantastic play because it looked pretty bad all through the mid game. Like early game, loses Marines to Lings. Mutalisk do a ton of damage. He's really pinned in his base. But once he got on the map, once he started putting on pressure, the game really flipped.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of those games where when you see Lings in your base, you're thinking, okay, well, this is probably just game over because the Muta follow-up is going to be devastating. And I mean, also, he had no idea that bottom left was up and running. He thought Zerg was all in. He built extra bunkers, which didn't help him, and he was still able to recover. So it was impressive play all around from XuanXuan. And now all that information you have on XuanXuan, like, oh, he's just a mech player. Oh, he only 8 Raxes. Well, now that's out the window. And in fact, if I was XuanXuan, because of how well he followed up the Lings, I would probably just play Bio here on out because it was well executed, very well executed.
Yeah, this actually looked better than his mech opener because he won from a deficit and he won pretty convincingly. Like Sziky wasn't able to get out on the map at all, even with 4 gas Zerg.
Yeah, and a lot of times as Terran, you feel like, okay, I have to kill Zerg before 4 gas because once that kicks in, it's over. So the fact that he went toe-to-toe versus 4 gas, highly impressive. And after the deficit, keeping Ziky's econ in check, at least in terms of the drone count in the main, you pointed it out. It only had like 6 drones. But Ziky's still in the lead 2-1. But that's definitely going to be a big momentum shift towards XuanXuan's favor because now there's no read that Sziky could possibly have on this guy anymore because clearly he can also play Bio, and it looked very, very strong. And here we go. Ascension is going to be the map choice of Sziky. Let's get into game 4. Okay, in the left side, our red Chinese Terran, it is XuanXuan.
And in the bottom right, we have Sziky.
Okay, so Ascension ZVT. Is this a mech map, or is this more of a bio map, do you think?
This is pretty good for mech, but I mean, after that game, why not go bio?
That's what I'm thinking, as I feel like this guy, if I'm XuanXuan here, I'm thinking, okay, this guy was just not able to keep up with the macro from me, so why not go bio again? It's not often I see players go 7 racks, or what was it, 9 racks on 2 bases and just be in his face the whole game. But as soon as that started happening, I mean, it's like he just sat there outside of Sziky's natural the whole game, and Sziky literally never got past his nat ever again once that happened.
He just sat there in an arc.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. Whether you're Protoss, whether you're Terran, you just sit there, man, and you win the game. He didn't even have siege mode, and he sat there and he won.
Right, so this one depot at the wall makes me think maybe he's gonna go for mech.
Yeah, this could be deceptive though, because if this was somebody like Firebat Hero, who really likes to outthink his opponent, like show a wall, and then actually there's 2 racks behind it, or show a wall and you think, okay, it's mech, but it's actually a command center behind it. This could be a deceptive move. We don't know what XuanXuan really has intended to follow up with. That barracks is in an interesting position, because if I saw that correctly, did he just build that on top of the egg? I mean, look at it. It looks like it's on top of that egg. Well, I don't know what that SCV wants to do. He ain't getting out.
Oh, there we go.
Well, that guy might be.
I think the Marine spawns on the left. It'll spawn inside, right?
Actually, I'm kind of worried that it's not a 9 pool, so in this particular game, I'm not worried. But if it was other games, it does look like it could pop out on the right side, and that would have been devastating if this was an early pool opener.
Well, Sziky just going into 2 hatch, really favoring the 11 pool and not the 12 pool variant. And there's a factory. SCV's pulled off gas, so everything looking standard, and just gonna be mech from XuanXuan.
Yep, and XuanXuan did pull off of gas. A lot of times when you see walls like this, it's 2-port Wraith, but not going to be the case. And Sziky did see the wall. And this is the first time that he has walled with mech. So he may be thinking similar to me, like, okay, well, when people wall like this, a lot of times it's Wraith. So I wonder if he will put down a Hydra Den preemptively.
Well, I think the Overlord will now see the command center being made.
Yep. And now 2-port Wraith, it's impossible. The command center's too fast, so he's not going to have to build that Hydra Den. He will still need the Sunken Colony, though, of course.
There it is, and 4 lings all made at once. So this is similar to what Sziky did on Metaverse, pretty much the same opener.
Yep, pretty much identical. SCV's going to get taken down, and now all of a sudden Terran is in the dark again. And he does need to be careful with his SimCity, because even though it does look pretty good right now, you can see there's definitely a gap at the top, definitely a gap between the racks and the command center, and obviously a huge gap between the command center and the mineral line. So if we do see something like 12 lings, we could have a repeat of game 1 where it just ends with the first attack. Instead, doesn't seem like it's going to be ling follow-up. We've got the Spire coming down, and I'm pretty sure it's a drone cycle. Now, if that spins pretty soon, that's going to be speed again, but it's not spinning. So again, he may... Okay, well, it's another Vulture, but it could be straight into Goliath range. Nope, there's going to be speed. Yep, speed. So it's not going to be the group. Oh, there's the Vulture. It gets caught again by just 8 lings. Luckily, this time he is going to have another Vulture, but he needs to scramble to get some units into place.
Oh man, that was the perfect timing for Sziky. Just as it crosses, he gets us around, and well, where's this Vulture going? Looks like he needs some space to maneuver against the speed links. Gotta be careful. Should have a 3rd Vulture in production, but that's another dead Vulture. Oh,
he's getting managing. He got off some shots, but he only kills 1 ling, and like I said, that's a huge gap right there. It's a miss rally. It's so far forward. Oh, it's gonna get caught. Oh my god, he lifted the racks, which actually helped Sziky get on top of the Vulture, and this is already starting to look cataclysmic. The Vulture again is going to fall. Speed is one of the longest upgrades that Terran has. He's forced to build more Vultures, which he does not want, because Mutas are the follow-up. And of course, Vultures don't help you in that scenario. Luckily, he only built one extra Vulture here, so it might not cut into his Goliath production that much. But is that an eBay or a third factory? I think it was actually, yeah, it is eBay.
All right, so, but that was 8 lings, got 3 vultures, forced a 4th one, and now this is a speed vulture, but completely useless, can't really get anything done. And they're the first Mutalisk finally popping for Sziky. Already has a 3rd base on the way.
Yeah, and of course, one Vulture can't knock down a hatchery. It would literally take him like 10 minutes to knock down this single hatchery. So for now, all he's going to be able to do is be content with, I guess, scouting around the map or denying a 4th base. He could attempt to run by. I think he would be able to survive getting by the Sunken, but would not have much health left over. That's cute placement of the Goliath directly under the eBay to limit the ability of snipes. Well, he gets in, and one hit will knock this down. For now, oh, he gets it just barely.
Good control there by Sziky, but good attempt by the Terran. Really can't get any other value out of that Vulture. Still not at the 7 Mutalisk number, so Sziky hasn't committed. There we are finally. Goliath's in position though.
Yeah, but range not done just yet, so he should be able to snipe a few SCVs before taking any decent amount of damage. There's 1 SCV down, 2 SCV downs. Okay, range has completed, so the Mutalisk do need to be careful. 1 falls. Okay, 1 falls for about 4 SCVs. I would say that was worthwhile for Sziky. Meanwhile, that was a 3rd and 4th factory going down, so really ramping up his production.
Trying to find an angle here to get some damage done, but good positioning of the turrets. I like the floated barracks. Somewhat covering the gas SCVs. Very annoying to lose those. And I like how he made the 3rd and 4th factories just as the Mutalisk left, so Sziky didn't really have any scouting information with those early Mutalisks. Looks like the Overlord just within range.
It's going to get taken out just barely. And behind this, it's more Mutas. That's the follow-up. I think Hydrogen has started, but yeah, it has started. An Evolution Chamber has started. It even has another Macro Hatch, but for now, it's pure Mutas. And XuanXuan out on the map with 9, actually 11 Goliaths, 2 more coming in. And if he was to go right now, I think this would be a great timing because he knows he killed an Overlord, and it's possible that he supply blocked Zerg. So this could be a good window of opportunity for him.
That 1 scouting lane. Clutch scouting there from Sziky. Now he knows where the Goliath army is. He already had that creep making. And like you said, Sziky's still actually currently supply blocked, so yeah. I mean, these Goliaths can take down this 1 Sunken pretty quickly. Where are the Mutalisks you really want to fight at the same time?
Well, he thought they were all in position, but actually Sziky was way out of position with the majority of his army. And that means that this 3rd base is going to survive. And XuanXuan's going to be forced to retreat for now. He doesn't want to get backstabbed and lose more and more SCVs. Oh, is he going to go for it? He's going to try and intercept these Goliaths in the center of the map. +1 armor has just kicked in. I'm guessing +1 armor kicked in for Sziky, but Goliath should win this fight. They're able to stutter step backwards. Maybe not though, but it should be a close trade at minimum.
A couple more Goliaths, actually 7 Goliaths here reinforcing, so he's going to save about half that group. So I think that was pretty even for both sides. +1 for both is complete. But yeah, if you can see, Sziky only now he's able to saturate that 3rd, so that pressure always accomplishes something. He's already making tanks though, and this isn't 5 facts, this is only 4. And I really feel like that extra Goliath makes a big difference when you finally do commit for that push.
Yeah, it definitely will make a big difference. I like how XuanXuan's spending the time to repair his army though. And since we saw the timing of his +1 armor, +1 weapon will be kicking in relatively soon, and that's probably going to be the go switch for him once he gets that upgrade and 3 tanks. 3 to 5 tanks seems to be the magic number. The Mutas, are they stuck? They're kind of cornered right now. There's a ton of Goliaths. He's taking a lot of damage. And we know XuanXuan loves to go for timings, so I feel like this is a big mistake. More mutas are going to take damage here. He loses just one, but that was a lot of unnecessary damage, especially since we know XuanXuan's about to move out.
Well, Hydralisks are in production now, and the one thing about Ascension is Sziky does have a high ground he can fight on, and there's a lot of high ground in the middle of the map. Hydralisk won't have +1 for about another, I don't know, 40, 45 seconds, so I feel like this is the moment if Terran wants to go for the push.
Yep, but Terran is going to try and push through this. He sees that there are Hydras. He takes down a couple of Goliaths in an instant. I don't know about committing here. This is a lot of Terran. He's repairing that single tank in the front. The Hydra's not able to take it down. And this is a catastrophe for Sziky right now. He gets a decent amount of Goliaths, but with reinforcements, the tanks and Goliaths are going to push through. And there's so many more Goliaths in production that have already been completed. We see the armory's not spinning anymore, so 1-1 is done. And I don't think +1 weapon is done for the Hydras just yet. Oh, it is
just
done.
finished.
Well, as you stated, there is a lot of high ground, but the army count just doesn't seem that high for Sziky. Now, that's a good engagement. He catches the top tank, and now XuanXuan may have overextended. That Goliath count looks so small, but with reinforcements coming in, will he just barely be able to push through? The answer seems to be no. The second tank is going to fall, and now it's Hydras versus Goliaths, and Hydras generally, well, they should win that fight simply because it's a numbers game.
Well, that was fantastic for Sziky, and he hit at the best, like the most opportune time. He had high ground, and it was just before the reinforcements from XuanXuan arrived. I feel like XuanXuan really overstepped. He really should have regrouped and then gone again. He didn't make any more tanks, so it was only the 2 he had in the initial push. And well, now he's gonna go again, but I feel like a lot of momentum has been lost after he lost that big fight there.
Yeah, but supplies are very low for Sziky. It was 55 just a second ago. He's going to pick off a couple more Goliaths. He's got 3, 4. Oh, 4. Okay, 4 for about 6 Hydras. That's a worthwhile trade, keeping the numbers low. Didn't get the tank, but Hydras on the high ground here may be able to pick off these units. The miss chance is going to be huge here. He kills one tank. That tank's super far forward. Might kill a second tank. Either way, he's going to push through and knock down some more Goliaths. Gets that. Going to get the tank and may even be able to deny this third command center.
I'm looking at the Terran main, and I think one of the big issues here is the way he constructed his buildings. Like, he just didn't have a lot of space to add the 5th and 6th, and he actually GG's.
Yeah, you can see his money right at the corners of your map, that he was floating a lot of resources. And as he stated, it might have been the layout of his base. He couldn't macro it well. He only had 1 add-on, so he couldn't build up his tank count very well. And of course, he knew that Zerg had at least 3 bases and macro hatches, so I don't fault him for tapping out there. But it was a scary attack. Nice defense from Sziky, and he's going to take home the victory.
Yeah, I feel like XuanXuan could have won with those attacks if he had the 5-fact, because a lot of the attacks he did against True Touch wasn't even 5-fact. It was actually 6-fact, 1-1. So those missing factories that really hurt the potential punching power of his push, and well, just a bit unfortunate there. And he definitely looked better with bio, like in the late game, looked really strong. So unfortunate that he didn't repeat that, and Sziky advancing into the round of 4 yet again.
Yeah, and even though it was a 3-1 victory, I would say he narrowly got through, because Ascension game looked pretty good up until the final stages. And the bio game, as he stated, looked fantastic from XuanXuan. So next season, if he does opt to play BSL, I do look forward to seeing him play, especially seeing his bio, because it was much stronger than I was anticipating, simply because we hadn't seen it all season long. But that is the end of our first series. We're going to go into a break. We're going to get to see the champ go up against Boa in another epic TVP.